Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my pregnancy Q&A video. I am in the home stretch of my pregnancy and just kind of trying to get as much content filmed for you guys before baby boy comes in just a couple short weeks. Oh, we don't know. I am 37 weeks pregnant tomorrow, so I'm technically full term as of tomorrow, and baby can come at any time at that point. I cannot believe we are already to this point in my pregnancy. I feel like I literally just announced my pregnancy like yesterday, but at the same time it also has felt like an eternity. So I put out a prompt on Instagram a couple of weeks back and asked you guys to send over your pregnancy and birth and baby related questions, and you guys delivered. You guys sent me over a lot of questions. They're all awesome. So I'm gonna be answering those today while just hanging out in the nursery. I have been doing Q&As in the past recently, like to day in the life, where I do like voiceovers, but we're gonna be dead honest here. My level of activity has been very low the past few weeks. I am extremely tired and get very winded, and so my day-to-day activities are a lot more pared down than usual, so I didn't have anything to do a voiceover to. So we're just gonna sit and chat. So if you want to put this on while you're doing something else, this is gonna just be like a talking head style video. There won't be any like visuals for you guys, just as a heads up. I am going to separate the video out as always with questions down below. So if you want to skip around to different timestamps, you can absolutely do that if you're interested in one thing or the other. And as I've done in the past with other Q&As, I have combined like questions together so that I'm not repeating myself over and over again. So if you submitted a question and you don't hear it verbatim, it's probably because someone else submitted something very similar and I've just mashed them together. So I do have, let's see, 13 questions to answer today. So we're just gonna get right into it. Okay, so the first question is, have my pets been acting differently since I have been pregnant? And this one is a little bit of a yes and no. Our pets are really clingy as it is. Our dog is extremely needy. She's like a people dog, and our cats are both very, very lovable. We don't really have any animals that aren't lovable like that, like overly lovable, obsessed with us. So it's a little hard to tell like a massive difference when I became pregnant. Our youngest cat, Allie, I'm like 90% sure is the only one that realizes that there's something in my belly. She has laid over my belly before and gotten kicked by him, so I'm pretty sure she knows there's something in there. But Evie's not one to like lay on me, so she, I don't think really knows. She's just a little more on the clingy side, even more so than before. And then with the dog, Gypsy, she, I think, just senses that there's something different. As I'm talking about you, you walk right into my frame. That's Evie, by the way. She's just hanging out now at the base of my camera. Hi. So she's gonna go lay on the Bobby. Your timing is impeccable. Okay, so like I was saying with the dog just knows there's something up, because there's all kinds of new stuff in the house, new products, new smells. When we redid the nursery, she would not come in here for like a good month. She just wanted nothing to do with this room. She just knows there's something different. So acting more clingy for sure, but I definitely don't think that they know that there's a baby aside from Allie. I think Allie does, but yeah, I don't think the other two know. They just are reaping the benefits of all the baby stuff, as you can see. Okay, baby names I love but didn't choose. So if you've been watching me for a little bit, you know that I went into my pregnancy thinking I was going to have a girl because I have all girls in my family, and logically in my brain I was like, it's gonna be a girl. I have 2 sisters, I have girl cousins, I have an aunt and no blood uncle, like on my side, like we are literally all women since the 40s. And so when we found out we were having a boy, it was a very big shock, and I just simply didn't have that many boy names picked out on my list. So I do have 3 that I'm going to share with you today that I love. We actually ended up going with a family name for our son. So his name is very, very special, but it's not trendy by any means. But the three that I have are fairly trendy. So the first name, which would have been my number one pick after the family name, is Dawson. So I love this for a first name. I heard it like a long time ago. I think I was looking at like a baby name list and Dawson popped up and I was like, I just love that. Now, subliminally, I think it's because I am a massive Titanic fan and Jack Dawson comes to mind, but Brandon is not a fan. Every single time I say it is like Dawson's Creek. Like that's the only thing that comes to mind for him, which fair. I think it's really different. I don't know if you would like be able to put a nickname with that name. I feel like you wouldn't. But yeah, I just think it's different and I just really like it. Second name on the list is Leo, which again, Leonardo DiCaprio. Feel like that's probably where that one came from too, but I just really like the name Leo. It's very simple, short and sweet, and it wouldn't be short for anything like Leonardo, it'd be just Leo. Really like that name as well. And then my third name is Finn. Finn, so 2 N's. I like how old-timey this name is. It reminds me of like the 1920s or 1930s and maybe like Huckleberry Finn. I just really like it. And again, not short for anything like Finnegan, it would just be Finn. So those were the 3 that I had on my baby boy list. And that was literally it, because again, we had so many girl names on the list, but not a ton of boy names. But yeah, if you guys are interested in finding out what our name is, it will be announced when he is born on my Instagram. So if you want to go over and follow my Instagram, it is linked below in the information below this video. So that is where we will be doing his birth announcement and you guys will get to see what his name is. Number 3, am I scared to give birth? I don't think scared is the word. I think I'm just anxious about it because if I have learned anything from pregnancy, it is that there is zero way to prepare 100% for birth or for your baby. You can feel super prepared and then you could get thrown a curveball that you never saw coming. This goes hand in hand with like baby products and like what works for some people does not work for others. It's the same thing with birth. I could go into my birth experience and have an entirely different experience than somebody that I know. One of my close friends just had her baby a couple weeks ago and I'm like putting bets on the fact that we probably will have nothing in common when it comes to our birthing experiences because everyone is so different. So I'm not actually going into my labor and delivery with a set birth plan. I have preferences, but my birth plan is basically whatever needs to happen can happen and I'm okay with whatever we need to do to just get him out safely. I would say that it just makes me anxious because I'm a type A planner type of person and it's just simply not something that you can really fully plan for. And so I've had to have that conversation with my doctor and she's very happy with me going into it with an open mind. So as much as it kills me to have to like lose control of that situation, it's just like what has to happen. So I wouldn't say scared, I would just say anxious is the word and just of the unknown and just hoping all goes well. Is there anything about becoming a mom that scares you? Yeah, I would say that after you get over that initial excitement of getting pregnant, for me anyway, this is what happened. I, over time, slowly came to the realization of I am going to be responsible for a person. I'm going to be the person who is raising this little boy and shaping him into the person that he is in the future. And I know that there are other factors that play into that. It's not just all on a parent completely, but it's such a huge part of it. And the level of responsibility is so high with having a baby. And so that is a very scary prospect because this is the first time in my life that I've ever been held responsible for something of this caliber. And it's wonderful, it's exciting, it's something that I am just beyond excited to do, but at the same time, it's very scary. And I think that, I don't know, maybe this is something that everyone goes through, where they feel that like sudden moment of, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be responsible for this little helpless human in a very short span of time from now. And so that was the only thing that really, really, truly scared me about being a mom. Do you like being pregnant? The person that submitted this question admitted that they did not like being pregnant and it made them feel very guilty. And I just want to say that you are not alone. I would say that for me, it's 50-50. I have moments of pure joy being pregnant, and I have moments of, I am never doing this again, ever. I have had some truly like miserable moments in my pregnancy where I am just like so over it. I'm getting to that point now in my pregnancy where I'm really, really done. And sharing your body with somebody for 10 months, because yes, it's 10, not 9. We still got a month to go and I'm 9 months pregnant, is exhausting. And it's a lot of change very quickly. And there's just a lot to it. I know that some people love being pregnant and it's just like, they can't get enough of it. And that's great. I'm so happy for you. But for me, I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm over this. It was, we've had some really beautiful milestone moments. Brandon and I have had a lot of great bonding moments over this. Preparing has been super fun, but it's also really stressful. So it's really both sides to this. So I won't definitively say yes or no to that. It just really depends on the perspective that you're looking at it from, and honestly, day to day, whether I like being pregnant or not. What would I do if at birth they announced that the baby was a girl? First of all, I would be like, I told you, because I had this strong intuition that he was a girl way back when. No, I'm just kidding. I genuinely did think he was a girl right up until we had our 20-week scan. We had early blood tests. It said male. I just did not believe it. I was absolutely floored, as you probably heard earlier, like in this Q&A. Like, I thought I was having a girl, and so to find out he was a boy was so crazy. But if they announced he was a girl, I think I would be, obviously we'd be happy either way, but I'd be a little bit sad because I've now become quite excited over the fact that we're having a boy. I'd be in shock, definitely, and I would be a little bit taken aback and sad. Of course, we would love a child no matter what, but you do get into a mindset in the course of your pregnancy of who this little person is gonna be, and to find out like at the last second at birth that like they're not who you thought they were gonna be is kind of like that would be a really daunting moment. Has anyone ever, like if you're watching this, has anyone ever had this happen or know somebody that did? Comment below. Have you known somebody or personally had an experience where you thought you were having one gender the entire time and then it was the opposite? Because I'm sure it happens. I know it happens, but I wonder how common that is. How am I feeling overall? Right now, in this moment, very uncomfortable. I am extremely tired. I don't sleep very well at all right now because I am getting up probably on average 6 times a night, I would say, to pee, and just to relieve pressure in my pelvis in general. Like, just laying on my side makes it so much worse. And if you don't know, when you're pregnant, you're not supposed to sleep on your back, which ironically is the only way that I really feel relief while laying in bed with the pressure. So getting up helps. So I am just extremely uncomfortable. I'm very, very tired, which before any of you go comment, well, you think you're tired now. Listen, I cannot wait to have my quality sleep back, okay? I fully understand that when I have a newborn, I'm gonna be up just as much in the night as I am now. However, the sleep that I get in those 2-3 hour spans when baby is you know, before, like in between feedings and stuff, is going to be so delicious because I can lay on my stomach, I can get comfortable, and I will not have to pee 175 times in the night. So yeah, will I be sleep deprived still? But will my sleep be at least a little more fulfilling? Yes. And I'm very excited about it, so don't take that away from me. I am just so excited to sleep on my stomach again. Oh my goodness. But otherwise, I mean, I have a lot of just like twingy, like low pelvic pain, a lot of back pain. Back pain has been one of my biggest things that I've had, you know, in my 3rd trimester. It's just incessant. Just overall feeling like really just done. And you get to a point where you're like, every little slight pain, you're like, is it labor? And it's absolutely maddening. So very impatient. I'm feeling very, very impatient at this point. Do I have any cravings right now? Kind of. I would say I've had a sweet tooth my entire pregnancy. It has not gone away, which is very unlike me. I am a savory person, but I'm also back to eating savory things. So basically I just eat everything in sight, and I have to snack like literally every single hour. I have to have something. I'll have like a granola bar, and then like an hour later I'll make myself like a bowl of veggies with hummus, and then like an hour after that I'm like, I'm gonna have some popcorn. Like I literally have to be constantly eating. And then I'll kick myself later on because I'll get my acid reflux if I eat too much. And so it is a vicious cycle, but I am hungry a lot. One thing that I have developed, which this is very common, is pica, where you crave like certain things. Some people crave like non-edible things. For me, it's chalky texture. I just crave it so much, like just specific textures, frozen textures. It is supposedly linked to an iron deficiency, although none of my blood work shows that, so I'm not really sure. But it is the strongest craving for chalky texture that I've ever had. So like things like Tums really satisfy that, but you're not supposed to just like pop Tums all day. You're supposed to like limit that because you can get like kidney stones. So it's really just terrible. I'm constantly trying to find things to eat that like satisfy it. I've eaten Smarties. I've had ice. Ice is a good one that I've found curbs it. And I can't wait for the hospital ice because they have the like pebble ice. I'm really excited for that. We don't have an ice maker at home, and so I haven't really been able to just have ice on demand like I want, like small, like crushed ice and stuff. Pregnancy is really wild with the cravings. What am I most nervous for? I took this to mean after birth. I am most nervous for a change in routine. As you know, if you watch me, this channel is all about my day-to-day and how I've kind of created a environment that works for Brandon and I. I like homemaking. I like having my ducks in a row. I like having a cleaning schedule in my house and having things not just so, because like I wouldn't say that this house is neat as a pin because it's not anywhere close to that. But I like having consistency. And so with having a baby, that is all going to change from the moment we get home. That routine is gone. That is like pre-baby routine, and we're probably never ever gonna have that again. So I think I'm most nervous for just like how long it's going to take for us to get back into a groove, because I know it's not gonna be like that for a while, and I have to accept that, and that's okay. But I am just nervous about making things work. And again, you have to go into it with a lot of just like the unknown. Like you have no idea if your baby is going to be colicky, or if they're gonna be a great sleeper, or be up all night. You don't know how feedings are gonna go. You don't know what's gonna work for you and not work for you, because it's literally different for everybody, and it's trial and error. So that trial and error period is what makes me the most nervous, because I know it's gonna be an exhausting time in our lives. I know it's gonna be potentially very stressful. It's gonna be wonderful at the same time, but not having a set routine is gonna be really hard for me. So I'm nervous, I'm excited, but I'm also really nervous about that. And maybe down the road, that's something that I'll make a video on, because I've made videos about our routines before and you guys really enjoyed that. So maybe once we have an established routine with the baby, that's something that I can show you, and I can show you guys what works for us. It's by no means going to work across the board for everybody once we do get a routine set, but I think maybe that might be something that's interesting. And I'll let you know how long it takes us to get there, because I think it's gonna be a bit. What am I most excited for? I am so excited, first of all, to see what he looks like, because I think he's gonna look a lot like Brandon. We were both bald when we were born, and we both obviously have blue eyes, so we think he's going to be bald with blue eyes. We think he's gonna be pretty little. I've actually been told by my doctor that he's gonna be pretty little, just based on them feeling around and kind of estimating where he's at. And I'm a small person, I'm 4'11", like there's not very much room in there. I have a very short torso also, he's all crunched in there, and they're pretty sure he's little. So it's just gonna be really exciting to see him. But I am pretty sure he's gonna be the clone of my husband, because isn't that always how that goes? Aren't they always clones of the men after we've carried them for all this time? Yeah, of course, that's how it works. Our friends that just had a baby, she's the clone of my friend's husband. Like, she is his clone. Like, it's the same baby. From his newborn photos to her, they're the same. It's gonna be the same with us, and it's fine. At least I think my husband's cute, so that's good. I'm also really excited to see milestones, so just like watching him grow and learn and roll over and start to become mobile. Seeing milestones with like feeding and play and him recognizing us, and just all the milestones. Like, very excited for that. And then the last thing is just showing him everything we love. We've gotten a lot of questions like, are you gonna take him to Disney World? Which of course we are. Not anytime soon. We're gonna wait quite a while before we take him, but I'm so excited to just show him Disney World, which is a place that is so near and dear to Brandon and I's hearts, and we just can't wait to share our joy of that type of thing with him. It's not even just Disney, it's just anything that we loved as a couple. We can't wait to like bring him in and show him, and for him to come into this world that we have kind of prepared for him, because we bought this home with the intention of having a baby. You know, we've gotten chickens, we've done a lot of house projects, we've done all this stuff, and it's like, I cannot wait to just like bring him into this environment that we've created as a couple, and this marriage that we've created, and all the love that's in this house. It's just like, oh, I can't wait. Isn't it wild feeling him move? Oh, it's wild. It's real wild. It was very cute for the first 3-4 months that I could feel him doing it. As of late, it's a little bit more, how do I put this nicely? It's a lot. I have a short torso and he's got long legs, I can tell. And so he loves to push his little feet up into my ribs because he has nowhere else to go. It's fine. I'm not trying to blame him. But yeah, the movements in the 3rd trimester are something else. He is really out of space in there, and some of the movements are just a lot, but it's still really cool to feel him move. I have to say, it just amazes me to like be able to see like a foot. Like, I can touch his foot. Like, I'm like, that is a foot. Or like, that's his butt. Like, I can tell where his body is now, and that's really, really cool. So it is a really cool and really weird feeling when he moves, and he's often pushing upward, so I get like a lot of pressure at the top and his little feet. Some days my ribs are on fire from how much he's kicking me. It's just day to day depending on how he's laying. The other thing that I will mention is that if you haven't been pregnant, when they get the hiccups, it is the most bizarre thing. It really feels like a nerve, like short-circuiting in your stomach. And because he's head down, it's like all very low, and he often gets the hiccups as I'm trying to go to bed, and they will last for like 20 to 30 minutes of him just hiccuping in there, just little like beep, beep, beep. that can be challenging, you know? At times I'm like, oh, that's really cute, but also I'm trying to sleep. So while the movements are wonderful and strange, they are also a lot, and it's gonna be really weird to not have him in there anymore, honestly. And I've heard of phantom kicks where after you have your baby, you can still feel them moving. And I could totally see how that is because I'm so used to feeling that now. What are you most looking forward to with having a boy? Well, for me, having a boy is a new adventure because we don't have boys in my side of the family. And so I get to have that all to myself. There's no one on my side of the family anyway to compare him to. He's the only little boy. It's new for me. I grew up with sisters, girl cousins, like I said, so this is like kind of exciting. It's just like all these new experiences that I'm gonna have that nobody else in my family can really relate to, and it makes it feel even more special. And also it's just cool because Brandon is so outnumbered. Right now we have all girl pets, we have me, he's outnumbered, and so he's gonna have a little buddy, and I'm excited for him for that. I mean, not that he cared either way. He actually originally, like, we both wanted a girl first, but it's still really cool. He's not gonna be outnumbered anymore. It's gonna feel even more new and different than if we had had a girl, because I feel so much more well versed in the idea of taking care of a little girl versus a little boy. So it's exciting. One thing that surprised me and that I didn't expect, I, have heard of the classic pregnancy symptoms. And one thing that I encountered in my second trimester, which I haven't talked about on this channel, I don't think at all, was my pregnancy eczema that I got. And this happened in literally the first week of my second trimester. I came out of the first. I was very excited to have come out of the first trimester because you have your cravings and your aversions and you have all like your nausea, and the first trimester symptoms are just not fun. And they refer to the second trimester as kind of like that honeymoon phase where you're not uncomfortable yet, you're just kind of enjoying pregnancy, going along, enjoying it. I suddenly was hit with this random rash. It started out as patches, and I had no idea what it was because I've never had eczema before. I had been doing a lot of working outside, so I thought maybe it was a reaction to something outside. And it started to spread into more of a rash rather than patches, and it was all over my torso. It was starting to go down onto my legs, my arms. It was all up here on my chest and was coming up my neck, and it was literally the scariest looking thing I had ever seen. And it developed pretty much within like a 2-day time span. It was so quick. And I ended up calling my OB, and she was like, I don't think that this is pregnancy related. And I was like, well, this is a weird coincidence that I'm pregnant and I'm experiencing this skin condition that I have no idea what it is. I feel like they are linked. So she suggested I go to my primary care doctor. So I did. And they thought it was brown tail moth rash. Even though I have grown up in Maine, we have those every single year, and I have never gotten any kind of reaction from brown tail moth. So I was very skeptical, and unfortunately with brown tail moth, there's not really a treatment for it. I had been putting hydrocortisone on it, and nothing was seemingly touching it. I had tried a few different things. And my primary was also like, well, we can't give you anything super strong because there are steroids in the prescription level of hydrocortisone and you're pregnant, so you can't have that. So they basically sent me home and were like, sorry, we can't help you. Like, get some witch hazel. So I bought witch hazel, and they basically said you have to wait it out. It'll go away on its own. Well, I started doing some research, and it turns out that pregnancy eczema is like one of the most common skin conditions in pregnant women. And all of the stuff that I found relating to it matched exactly what I was experiencing. So I took some oatmeal baths and I tackled it with some really strong, nourishing lotions. And then I also laid in the sun, because one of the ways that you can actually treat eczema is by UV exposure. So I had a few times where we would go out in the pool and I would just like lay in the sun, and I would just like let the sun hit the rash and it would dry it right out. And within like a week, it was gone. And so when I went back to my OB, I told her all about this, and she was like, I don't know why they told you couldn't have this hydrocortisone cream. Like, I would have been okay with you having it. There was no definitive like diagnosis of me having the pregnancy eczema, but I am 99% sure that's what it was. So basically what happens is it's a hormone shift in your body from being pregnant, and that's what kicked it in. And I haven't had it since, but it's something now that I'll look out for and know that it's something that I could end up getting if my hormones shift again, which I know after having a baby, they do. So it's something that I could have flare up again, but at least now I know somewhat how to treat it. Yeah, it was something that came so out of the blue, and I don't know if any of you watching had this experience, but nobody I've talked to has had pregnancy eczema, but like that's definitely what it was. So very weird. The other thing that surprised me that I didn't expect was how uncomfortable I got from week 29 to week 30. So beginning of your third trimester, I think technically third trimester is 28 weeks. Anyway, I was expecting to be uncomfortable in my last few weeks of pregnancy. Like the point that I'm at now, I knew like I'm gonna be uncomfortable. What I didn't expect was how early on I would lose mobility and become so uncomfortable. 30 weeks, I went from fine to not fine. And I couldn't like get up off the floor without bracing myself. I was so out of breath. I was so uncomfortable. My sleep declined. It all happened within the span of like a week. And then when I went into my OB appointment, I believe it was my 32 week, I had gained the vast majority of the weight that I've gained this pregnancy in that 2-week time span. So basically, I had gone from very gradual to just a lot of weight gain really fast. And I think it had put my body into just like shock. Basically, like my body just did not know how to handle that rapid weight change. And that's why I had lost a bunch of sleep and had crazy back pain. It was just suddenly so uncomfortable. And then that like plateaued, and now I'm just like used to being uncomfortable all the time. But it was a big shock. I did not think it was gonna happen that early. That is something though that I think could vary person to person. All of this could. So it's hard to say, you know, like definitively like, oh, you'll experience this at 30 weeks. Because I know people that are pregnant that did not have the symptoms that I had. They were not uncomfortable like that at 30 weeks. So it really depends on you as a person, but it really shocked me how quickly it happened. Okay, last question. What's a symptom that nobody talks about with pregnancy? Well, we just talked about another symptom that I had that I'd never heard of, but one that I feel like is a lot more common that nobody talks about is just like the constant mental and emotional state that you're in pregnancy, and how quickly it changes and how you have to kind of learn to manage it. I did not expect to be as emotional as I was. I thought that the hormone shifts were early on and that they would level out. For me, I was pretty emotional throughout my entire pregnancy, and I've also had a lot of pregnancy rage, which they talk about, where you're just like irrationally mad all the time. I've had moments of feeling very isolated. It's really like all over the place, and then like moments of pure joy. It's like a roller coaster constantly through all those months. And I know for some people that like is just like a first trimester thing or a third trimester thing, but for me it was the whole time. When you're going through that, it's not the thing that you're talking about the most with people. I had a pregnancy buddy, my friend that I've talked about a couple times in this video already. We were 6 weeks apart in gestation, and so she and I could chat about just like things that we were feeling. And if I didn't have her pregnant at the same time as me, it would have been so much harder, because it just feels like nobody can relate to you in that moment. I also noticed that if I brought up my mental state to other people that weren't pregnant in my life, a lot of the response I would get was like, well, like you wanted to be pregnant. And that's like not the right thing to say to someone. You know, it's just not something that gets talked about enough, because you're gonna talk to people about pregnancy and they're gonna be like, how are you feeling? That's the first question you're gonna get. And they're not talking about your mental state. They're saying, how's it going with like your bump? And like, can you feel the baby move? And you know, are you nauseous? Are you having cravings? Like, that's what they're talking about. They're not talking about the mental state. And so I think it's something that, you know, it's just not talked about a ton. And obviously it's something that pairs with postpartum depression, which is something that's common and something to look out for after you've given birth. So I think mental state is something to just be very self-aware of when you're pregnant. And not a lot of people want to talk about it because they'd rather talk about the fun things like, what's your nursery look like? Or do you have any cravings? You know, like that type of thing is what people are more interested in. They get very uncomfortable talking about anything beyond that. It is something that I've dealt with throughout pregnancy, and I just thought that it was something that I should throw out there as, you know, you're not alone. Weirdly enough, one platform I've found incredibly comforting is TikTok, because I've found a lot of women that are in the same like gestation area as me, like 36, 37 weeks pregnant, and they talk about the mental state as well. And it's like literally everybody at some point in time has battled with some kind of like mental or emotional moment that they weren't anticipating. But we're almost there. We are in the home stretch. I'm excited. My life is about to change in a really big way, and I'm just so excited for it. So that is it for today's Q&A. Sorry if I got a little rambly. I was trying to get all of my thoughts across. But yeah, I haven't done a lot of pregnancy content, and a lot of you kind of were expressing that you were interested in it, so I figured I'd just see what came of a Q&A prompt, and you guys clearly are super duper interested. Like I said, when baby is actually here, there won't be a ton with him featured, but this is my life and this channel is about my life, so there are moments, especially within this pregnancy and, you know, with the upcoming changes and stuff, that I'm gonna want to capture. And I thought that this was a good one to kind of throw in at the very tail end of everything. And I have a upcoming video. I'll have one more pregnancy related video coming up probably within the next couple weeks. I'm gonna film the video most likely this week, and it'll be a nest with me video where I show you my hospital bag and baby's bag and some postpartum stuff. So it's more of like a haul video. So if you're interested in that, be on the lookout. It'll be up hopefully very shortly. I may schedule it for like a little bit down the road just to keep the content flowing while I'm dealing with a newborn. And again, as I mentioned before, follow me on Instagram if you want more baby updates. There will not be a ton of him all over my social media. Just gonna put that out there now, but his birth announcement will be put up, so if you guys are interested in that, head on over to my Instagram and you will get the scoop when he's born. And I want to thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all so much for being so supportive throughout my pregnancy and just supportive of the channel in general. I have enjoyed sharing this part of my life with you guys, and I'm ready for the next chapter. I'm ready to, you know, bring in a big shift again. We do this every year. We moved into a house, we got married, now we're having a baby. There's just so much, it's never ending. Oh, anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.